through my head like a jet plane, going with the lights on. Turns out it started with a fight tonight.
It's time for the final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Phil Kornblut, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day, so join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Thursday night. It's a thirsty Thursday night as we are on the road, and we're at a great place to quench our thirst and fill our appetite. We are at the Comeback Shack here in kind of near Goose Creek, just down the street from Charleston Southern University. Coach Chuck Reedy's place here, and, of course, Chuck has been with us not only this season but for many, many seasons, and as a way of showing our gratitude, we said, we'll come to your place and do a show, and tonight is the night for that. And he's going to join us here on the program throughout the night. Steve Tannehill will be with us as well. We'll do our normal coach and quarterback segment with those two when Tannehill joins us. We got a bunch more for you tonight as we get ready for the football this weekend, South Carolina and Akron, and, of course, Clemson and Pittsburgh in the ACC championship game on Saturday night. Barkley Radeball, the basketball coach at Charleston Southern, has promised to come by and join us for a little bit. There's a big football game down here tonight. Charleston Southern and the Citadel kicking off at Johnson Haygood at 7 o'clock. What? If you've been following on Twitter, these two teams, these two schools have had a lot of fun picking at each other this week. The Charleston Southern put out a video either today or last night, about a 3-minute video where they sort of pay homage to the Citadel and the history, but they also have one of their players dressed in full uniform going out on the big bridge over the rivers with a broom and sweeping it off, implying that they're going for a sweep of the Citadel in this game tonight. So a little bit of fun here in the port city, in the holy city, between the two major football programs.
We scheduled this completely wrong, Quan. We should be sitting in Mike Capaccio's beer garden right now.
Oh, that'd be great.
How did we mess that up?
Because I prefer to be at Chuck Reedy's place.
Thank you very much.
The comeback shack. Does this make you the comeback kid because we're at the comeback shack?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not looking to make any comebacks. I think Mac Brown did that for all of us this week.
Georgia Tech is open, and they don't like the forward pass either.
Well, maybe they want to change.
They want to maybe come into the 21st century a little bit.
Hey, they led the nation in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Led the nation in rushing.
Hey, second place in the Coastal. That's not a sneeze at.
Right, second. Ask Bud Foster what he thinks about that offense.
Yeah, but why is Paul giving it up now? He just thinks he's at the end of the road?
He's old.
I tell you what, coaches had no idea. They were on the road recruiting. They got the word that there would be an 8 o'clock staff meeting this morning.
Mm-hmm.
This was 2 days ago. And, of course, it leaked out yesterday, and they said, well, we're going to have a team meeting at 2:30 tomorrow, or yesterday. And so they all came back in, but said he's just tired. It's no other reason. Might coach again after a year off.
One of the big names, of course, involves possible Clemson connections with Tony Elliott. Also, Chargers offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt, per Adam Schefter of ESPN, will interview this weekend for the potential opening there, or at least for the opening there. It's not a potential opening, for the opening there. How does Tony Elliott fit with that scheme in your mind?
Well, Tony Elliott would be a great choice, a great hire for anyone looking for a head coach. Tony's he's a wonderful young man. He's very bright. He's got a great offensive mind. He's an excellent recruiter. Wonderful with people. He's certainly in line to get a good job. The thing about the Clemson guys, whether it be he or Jeff Scott and Venables, those guys they're doing so well right now. They don't have to just take any job. They're gonna make sure that they get the right job. The name that I do hear down there is Neil Brown, the guy from Troy,
who has done a heck of a job.
Oh yeah,
I heard this afternoon East Carolina's coming open. I think they are announcing that. David Blackwell will be the interim head coach through at least this weekend and on into the beginning of the recruiting season for them until they hire their new coach. And I have heard that perhaps that might be a job Jeff Scott might look at.
Well, and it may very well be. The problem they've got is they've got to hire an athletic director first.
True.
And, and so that could very well push them, unless they've got somebody ready to hire as the AD. They're going to be behind everybody, and they're going to be, late getting in on the coaching thing, and that's not good.
From what I've read, they're eyeballing the AD at Southern Miss for that job. So we shall see. We shall see what. Before we get too deep, tell everybody around the state who are coming down to the Charleston area about the Comeback Shack, what you guys are all about here.
Yeah, the Comeback Shack is the original is in Boone, North Carolina. Was founded, established in 2011 by two brothers and their wives. And my wife and I went up there, Debbie and I went up there in 2013 because we'd heard so much about it. And we were blown away with the quality of the food. We don't have a freezer. Everything is fresh. The hamburgers are patted fresh every night. All of the fries are cut fresh, every night. All of our sauces are homemade, and they're made fresh every day. And anyway, long story, we just hit it off with them and decided that we would partner to open this one. And we've got a contract on another piece of property in the area, so we're looking hopefully to have our second one open within a year. But the idea is simply it's fresh food. Good quality food at a very reasonable price, and we have a very broad menu. We're not like Five Guys, where you get burger, hot dog, and fries. We have a very diverse menu, and with a lot of options, including salads and tuna. There's so
you could not have picked a better location because this highway is always busy.
Yeah.
And especially late afternoon, folks heading home, good place to stop. You've got outside eating as well whenever the weather is nice. We have got a couple of things to give away. We have a couple of footballs commemorating and recognizing Brian Dawkins, the former Clemson star safety, and his induction in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In fact, he was at Clemson on Saturday night to be honored by the Tigers for that. And we've got 2 footballs to give away. And what we're going to do, anybody who's here in the restaurant or who stops by, we're just going to ask you a simple trivia question based on last Saturday night's game up at Clemson. If you can answer the question correctly, we'll give you one of the footballs. Now, we have 2. We don't have a bunch. We got 2 left. And first 2 people who can answer a question correctly, one will get a football, and so will the other.
Should be very fun.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people down here with the Clemson insignia on it. Do you see a more influx of Clemson or more influx of Carolina coming in here?
You see both, but right now you see Clemson everywhere, and there's a reason for that. They're 12-0.
Yeah.
Carolina's 6-5. I mean, there's the Clemson people are sporting their colors.
Soon to be 7-5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
30. The line's gone up to 30 on South Carolina Akron. The line's gone up to 27.5 on Clemson and Pitt. And Clemson should have no trouble Saturday night.
Well, Pitt was a 21-point underdog when they came down to Death Valley 2 years ago, Corn.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Clemson's good for one of those a year.
Yeah.
Right. They dodged it this year at Syracuse. I mean, Syracuse had them beat. And,
so did A&M.
Bryce. Well, Chase Bryce makes one throw, on the 4th down and 6 or 7 that wins the game. Otherwise, they're beat.
Yeah.
It's funny all these national pundits keep talking about that A&M game and that call out of the back of the end zone where there was no definitive view where that ball went out of the back of the end. There's no definitive view. I'm wondering what they saw that I didn't see while there in front of it, about as close to it as you are to me. Just saying.
Well, we'll talk with Chuck here coming up after the break. Steve Tannehill will join us at the bottom of the hour for the normal coach and QB segment. But Chuck is here as we're going to delve into football very deeply and talk about South Carolina Clemson the other night and talk about what's ahead for these teams, talk about things happening in the coaching world because he kind of obviously keeps an eye on that. The thing about Georgia Tech, whoever is hired, and if it's somebody who is not married to the triple option, let's say it's a spread guy, he better have a 6 or 7 year contract because they've got to completely retool the offense, don't they?
Yeah, they will. They've recruited players to fit their system. I mean, whether it be, if you notice their offensive linemen are not big guys.
Correct.
By today's standards, they're 275, 280 guys. They look more for guys that are a little quicker and more agile because of what all they do. And then obviously the quarterback. I mean, they're not looking for a quarterback that can drop back and throw the ball.
All right, hang on. We got to hit a break, and we'll come back to the comeback shack here. This is actually Ladson, right?
No, this is North Charleston.
North Charleston, wherever we are. Be right back.
This is the place to talk Tigers, Gamecocks, and more. Sports talk across the state on the South Carolina Radio Network.
And welcome back to this Thursday night edition of Sports Talk here on the South Carolina Radio Network. I'm Tom Hayes here in Columbia, and the guys are down in North Charleston at the Comeback Shack with Chuck Reedy, and we'll have the coach and the quarterback coming up a little bit later on during the show. We will be discussing a little bit later, and we can get some calls going right now, 1-800-956-7266. 1-800-956-7266 to talk about the upcoming ACC championship game, the Clemson Tigers and the Pittsburgh Panthers. Any worries about Clemson not being ready for that football game? I don't think so. The spread is kind of steep, though, around 26, 27 points. And for South Carolina, they're just looking for a good bowl to lay their hands on when they have that press conference on Sunday afternoon, I think around 5:30, to announce where they're going. Obviously, the CBS, I should say, the SEC will have final say on who goes to what bowl. But if things work out, South Carolina could find themselves down in Jacksonville. I think that's the goal for the bowl, the Jacksonville people down there. They want South Carolina. South Carolina would like to be in Jacksonville, but that'll have to be decided. But that would be the marriage that South Carolina is looking for. If not, they may just go up the road about an hour and 15 minutes up to Charlotte for the Belk Bowl. The negatives about the Belk Bowl from their standpoint is this. South Carolina has already been up there, a year ago, play North Carolina State, and they played, and they will open the season with North Carolina next year. Now, that would be an interesting game with Mac Brown being back in the coaching profession, not only being at North Carolina, but also remember that he was at Texas, and they had a coach in waiting on the sideline coaching the defense back then by the name of Will Muschamp, who was the coach in waiting at Texas, but Muschamp couldn't wait, and he took the Florida job, and of course, we know how that ended up, and he ends up at South Carolina as far as that's concerned. So that will be interesting next year, but that's next year, and that's in Charlotte. Does Charlotte want the Gamecocks in a period of less than 18 months in Charlotte 3 times? So that's one of the reasons why the thinking is if you get 2 SEC teams in the Bowl 6 and happenstance maybe, and I know people don't want to see this again, if Alabama and Georgia both end up again in the Final Four, that moves everybody up in the pecking order as far as the bowls are concerned. Looking at Kentucky, they'll probably be headed to the Citrus Bowl down in Orlando, and probably you're looking at, I would think, Texas A&M in the Outback Bowl. If only one teams make it in that round of 6 on New Year's Day, then you look at maybe Mississippi State in the Outback Bowl, and Texas A&M will come east to Jacksonville, and that would leave South Carolina maybe with the Music City Bowl, which many people are not mentioning now for South Carolina, because that seems like Missouri would be the team to be there in play for that bowl game, leaving South Carolina with the Belk Bowl. But those scenarios will work themselves out before the week is out. Now, when we look back at what's happening as far as South Carolina is concerned, many people are just thinking, tap this game, put Akron in the win column. But as you know, I think like a coach, and I don't care who's in the other team's uniforms, I worry about a football game. Obviously, you have a decimated defense, and you got to remember that Akron, even though it seems light years ago, opened up the season 2-0, even though they finished 4-7. And one of those victories against Northwestern. Last time I checked, Northwestern is playing in the championship game of the Big Ten. So this team could be dangerous. and there is a Bowden on the sideline. So, just don't chalk it up. A lot of people are talking about this football game like it's the Globetrotters. And what's that old team they used to play, the Washington Generals? And, you're just going to roll the balls out and you win the football game. But South Carolina has to see what these young players can do, keep what's left of the defense healthy as they go into postseason preparations, and see what happens from there. But obviously, they'd love to be 7-5. If by some reason they stumble and lose to Akron, they could find themselves banished out to Shreveport. So I know no Gamecock fan wants that. So that will be interesting as far as that's concerned. The guys are going to be joining us in just a moment. But if you'd like to add your thoughts on what you think South Carolina is going to do as far as going to a bowl, or what bowl you would like to go to if you're a Gamecock fan. You Clemson fans, has that rivalry game out of your system now? Do you think your defense is righted the ship and is ready for this championship game and to maul the Panthers in Charlotte on Saturday?
Panthers and Panthers.
Yeah.
Panthers of Pitt, the Panthers of
maybe they think
Carolina
Panthers come in there, they may think it's a home game.
All right, we are back with you from the Comeback Shack. We are the Comeback Kids, simply because we had a little accident here with the equipment. But all's good, Coach Reedy.
Thank you.
We're all good. You're off the hook for $10,000. This will be Comeback Shack.
The Comeback Shack's going to lose a lot of money tonight.
And Corn Shack. Anyway, Barkley Radebaugh is here from Charleston Southern Basketball. We're going to hear from him in a little bit. He's over there munching down on a great meal. Coach Reedy is here. We've got Steve Tannehill joining us in a little bit. So, South Carolina's offense against Clemson last Saturday night, the exotic stuff that they did, kind of exotic.
I could use the right word this time.
I did use. I checked myself. But it worked. What threw Clemson's defense off so much?
Well, I mean, obviously they gave them a lot of different looks. The first 2 or 3 series, I mean, they were giving them different formations, different looks on, on every play. And, but I don't know that you don't play that well by fooling somebody. They played well because Bentley played well. He threw the ball well. He had great protection. I thought the real heroes in that game were for Carolina was their offensive line, because they gave him an opportunity to make throws, and the receivers, they started making the kind of plays you expected them to make all year. And that combination, and even though they didn't run the ball, effectively so much, at least they ran the ball enough to keep Clemson's front honest and keep them from being able to tee off on Bentley. And very, very impressive performance, and certainly leaves some doubt about just how good Clemson is, because nobody else has really tested them like they were tested Saturday night.
Sure. At the Comeback Shack with the coach Chuck Reedy, whose name is figuratively on the door, not literally on the door, but it is his place, and we thank him for his hospitality. How would you as a head coach feel about going through this playoff era as opposed to the previous way that things used to be?
Well, I liked the bowl system, and of course it's still involved in the playoff, obviously. But this is the right thing. I mean, at least now we do, we have a legitimate national champion. There's no, it's not a vote and all of that. It's decided on the field, and that's the way that it should be. I do think as a coach, it does put a little bit more pressure on you, because you're trying to get into that Final Four. And as opposed to, before, where really you're just trying to get in the best bowl game you can get in. But no, it's good. I suspect they'll go to 8 here, in the near future.
Yeah, once they can get the money jacked up from ESPN. Fan bases are, we got to hit a break coming up. We'll get into this coming up. But, I mean, Dabo had to get up on the pulpit this week, the bully pulpit, and tell Clemson fans, or at least one of them, back away from the ledge. I mean, if you're not happy with a 21-point win over your rival in a 12-0 regular season, what's your problem? We'll get into that coming up. Steve Tannehill will join us back from the Comeback Shack in a moment.
We come to you from the Comeback Shack. We are on Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, Professor Tom Hayes in our studio, and of course, Coach Chuck Reedy is here alongside us. This is his establishment, so we're very happy, again, to have his hospitality with us. It's been fantastic. Of course, we bring in not only Chuck, but also Steve Tannehill for our weekly visit with the coach and the QB corner.
Absolutely. And maybe if Steve's in a good mood and we're nice to him, he'll have us out to group therapy next Thursday, Steve.
Next Thursday, about that.
I'm breaking news here on him. He wasn't aware that I was going to drop that on him.
So you love to invite yourself places, don't you?
Absolutely. If I can get a free meal here and a free beer at group therapy, I'll be covered. That'd be great. Coach, how you doing? Steve, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good. Before we get into Gamecocks and Tigers, I know you want to give a shout-out to your old boys at Union County. Got a chance to get to a state championship. And also, Shi Smith, one of your guys, did a great job at the Clemson game. What do you think of those two entities there, Union County and Shi Smith?
Well, the Union County, those guys were in the ninth grade my last year. They got a pretty good football team from what I understand. Going against Chester will be a big test. As far as Shi goes, man, I'm pretty sure after the event, all the Gamecock fans know what he's capable of. And he'll be filling next year what we missed when Depot was. But proud of Shi Smith.
Had a huge game against Clemson. Had a really good season to this point. He's got a chance to add on to it. So, Steve, what's your take on the Clemson-South Carolina game, the way it played out, and in particular, from your standpoint, the Gamecock offense maybe coming of age and something they can build on moving forward?
Well, I think obviously since offensive coordinators came down on the sideline, our offense has really taken off. I wish we would have done what we've done the last 4 games in the first 4 games. I think we would have had a better season. So I'm not one of the Gamecock fans that thinks that it was, we only got beat by 21. If we're going to go play, I'd like to see us win. And so I'm not one of those where, oh, man, we hung in there. If we want to get to the level of play that I think Coach Muschamp wants, we got to win some games. And, Clemson being number 2 in the country, obviously they're good, but I'm not. You can't give up 700 points. That's ridiculous. I don't care who you're playing, and we've got a long way to go.
Coach, as we look at this from a Clemson perspective, how deep is the cause for concern from what South Carolina did to Clemson?
Well, I think, as we've said all year, I mean, they haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody that's got the receivers that South Carolina has. Okay? And, Bentley certainly, the way he played the other night, they haven't played against a quarterback that's played that well against them. And so, I think they've definitely got, you get 500 yards thrown against you, you got some problems. I mean, something's wrong. And, I can assure you, Alabama, they've already broken that thing down about 10 times, and they know exactly, how South Carolina took advantage of Clemson. And Alabama, they've got better receivers than South Carolina and a better quarterback. And a better offensive line,
and a better
running backs.
Yeah.
So certainly, that was I'm sure it was a wake up call for Clemson's defense.
Steve, Brian McClendon had a great game as a play caller, as a game planner for Clemson, and all of a sudden his star is rising now, and you're hearing people talk about McClendon as a coaching candidate here. Maybe that's a bit of a rush coming off of one game, but he's done a nice job, but pretty much outcoached Venables, don't you think, in terms of offensive coordinator versus defensive coordinator, his game plan versus their game plan?
I think the game plan was great. I watched that game play without safety over the top a lot of times. Gave our guys opportunities for big plays. I think Jake played great. He broke one of my records for most passing yards out of him.
Bye-bye.
And I'd like to see that. I'd like to take The way he's played last week, he's playing. And there's only a few backs to put together a 5-game stretch like this. But I don't understand why, Clemson didn't advocate over the top that much. And I really think our offensive line played probably their best game. And that made a big difference.
Chuck, you were talking about South Carolina's offensive line playing so well. And what surprised me is this. I was surprised that Clemson dialed up the blitz as much as they did, because it was almost like telling South Carolina, we can't get the rush we want with the front four, which we usually get. So we're going to start the blitz. And I thought maybe that gave the offensive line some juice, saying these guys think we must be blocking well because they keep blitzing us.
Yeah, obviously Clemson's got those 4 guys up front are great players. But, I don't know that they have actually dominated the way people expected them to. And certainly they didn't on Saturday night. And, once you start bringing linebackers, now you put your secondary guys in man coverage. And, South Carolina's receivers are good enough. And if you give Bentley time, then you're going to have big plays down the field.
Obviously, the streak as we sit now is at 5 between these two teams, Steve. But from the standpoint of where South Carolina is, I have to think that this is about as close as these two teams have been during that streak. How close do you think the gap is after Saturday?
Well, I don't, if we don't get the defensive guys, I don't know that the gap is that close. We're going to lose. Debo, and that's going to hurt. And if Edwards leaves, that's going to hurt. Jake's going to hang around, I would imagine. On offense, we should be good. But if Kinlaw leaves on defense, London's been hurt all year. And it definitely hurt not having Horn out there. But we got to get an edge rusher. I think that's the most important thing. Looking over there on defense. I don't know how much. You can't expect freshmen to come to play be difference makers. Not all of them. Football's a game of momentum, and maybe next year at this time we'll be on a little winning streak and maybe have a chance.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask both of you from South Carolina's standpoint. Chuck, something they can build on. I agree with Steve. A 21-point loss is nothing to, turn cartwheels over. But, your Gamecocks are a lot more competitive than people thought they would be. Can they build on this against Akron and then their bowl game either in Jacksonville or in Charlotte? Probably Charlotte, the way things are going to work out, against an ACC team, Virginia, maybe NC State, one or the other. A chance to have a big offensive day, and maybe they get some of the defensive guys back and they can shut down somebody or slow down somebody?
Well, yeah, like we Steve said, and I agree, you don't want to celebrate a 21-point loss. But what you're saying, if they, they'll beat Akron, and then if they can win the bowl game, finish with 8 wins and finish on a good positive note, get these guys back. They played with half their defensive starters out. And like Steve, until they get good on defense, they're not going to be a top level SEC team. They're not going to beat Clemson. They've got to get better on defense. They got to get better players. Maybe the guy from Anderson, he's a 5-star guy. Maybe he's a Clowney type guy or Xavier Thomas type guy.
30 seconds. Does Pitt have a chance on Saturday against Clemson?
No, none whatsoever. North Carolina beat Pitt. I love Larry Fedora.
Yeah.
But that's, other than Western Carolina, that's the only game they won.
Yeah.
And Pitt's the winner of the Coastal Division. Come on.
They had 200 yards against Miami last week.
No,
it's not good. Not a sad state of affairs.
Steve, we thank you, my friend. I will check with you about next Thursday if that works for you.
All right. Yeah, give me a call this week. I'm not sure if I'm in Columbia on Thursday, but it might be able to happen.
You might be hunting again.
We'll come to your deer stand.
Broadcasting from the deer stand of Steve Tannehill. This is Sports Talk.
Thank you, Steve. We'll be right back.
The guys are always checking email. Send your comments or questions to talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, more of Sports Talk from Columbia's Main Street.
And from the Comeback Shack in North Charleston, it is Sports Talk on the road. We are here at Chuck Reedy's Comeback Shack. I am trying to figure out how to order here. They have a procedure. I don't know if you see this, Corn. He gives you a novel. It's almost like the Cheesecake Factory gone burger. You can choose whatever you want, and you get a little sheet here to be able to fill out your selection. But now we're going to talk a little hoops with a guy who's got his arena right down the road from us.
This is not my first time here at the Comeback Shack. I know how to handle a Comeback Shack.
I understand.
I'm all good. Barkley Radebaugh, head coach of the Charleston Southern basketball team, is here. Not too far from the Buck Dome.
Not far.
All
1 mile.
All 900 seats of it.
All 900 seats.
Y'all still got that plow out there to move the earth to start building the new arena. We keep.
It's coming. It gets closer every day. I hope I'm alive.
I tell you, man, I got to take my hat off to you because you keep hanging.
Yeah, thank you.
I
love Charleston Southern. I love my job and particularly love this team. And I love this restaurant. I've been here a bunch of times, hoping I'll meet here for lunch a lot. And I love a hamburger, and this is a good hamburger. And I'm the president of the Chuck Reedy Club fan club. I watched his team play a lot at Goose Creek, and also very good to see you. And thank you. I always appreciate. I love listening to you when I'm recruiting and get you on my radio, and it gets me a couple hours down the road, and appreciate everything that you do, and it's really good to see you.
Well, we're just happy to be here. It's great to see you. You just got back from Marquette.
We did.
Played them on Tuesday night, competitive for a while.
Yes, we played really well in the first half, really well. And Marquette's probably a Sweet 16 team, and it got away from us a little bit in the second half, but we battled. We're very young, but very talented, and we've played really well through the year, and we were very thankful. We learned a ton against Marquette, a very different style of play than we've seen, and with all those shooters and very good guard. And so we're real thankful for the opportunity. A great trip. I'd never been to Milwaukee. Had a lot of fun.
What do you like about your team right now?
Well, the thing I like most about our team is our attitude and our effort. Now, I've been doing this 31 years now, and I can't remember a team that I've been an assistant coach on or been the head coach of that has a better attitude towards work and a better attitude towards effort. Our guys are very talented, really good basketball players, but the best talent that they have is the talent, and I mean talent, their ability to work hard. And that we don't have any bad kids. It's a ton of fun to coach this group, and we've gotten better every day. We were a lot better than when we played Florida, and we got better today, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Bro, you have a question for Barkley Radebaugh.
Yeah, I was about to ask, when you look at your team and teams of your ilk, you have to compensate for not being, when you play a team like Marquette that may be size-wise, as height and length, bigger than you are. When your team is playing at its best, what is it doing?
Well, we press. So we're second in the nation. Out of 353 teams, we're second in the nation in creating turnovers. We create over 20 turnovers a game. There's only one team that does it better than us in the whole country, and I can't remember who that is. So we're creating turnovers. We're playing very quickly. We shoot the three ball a lot. We are undersized. But we move the ball. We're very unselfish. We average 15 assists a game, and so we're playing fast. We're moving the ball. We're turning the ball over and creating easy shots for our athletes. We're a long, athletic team, and we've tried several years to recruit a team like this, and we're very thankful. We're big. We got two freshman post players. One, Cedarius Bowser from Gaffney, a 6'9", 230-pound freshman post player, and Timmy's another 6'9". So size-wise, we weren't really that much smaller than Marquette. They just shot the ball a little bit better than we did.
I remember your best teams a few years ago. You were small, especially in the backcourt. I mean, your little point guard, remember him? But you could shoot the three. You lived and died at fast pace and shooting the three. Is this team along those same lines? Are you living and dying with the three and the up-tempo?
It really is. At Charleston Southern, we feel like we have to gain an advantage some way. It's very much like Georgia Tech runs the wishbone and runs the option, a different style than anybody else in the ACC. And we feel that at times, from a talent standpoint, we have to set ourselves apart with our scheme. And so we've always tried to press, tried to create turnovers, tried to shoot the three ball. I love Duger's quote the other day after they beat South Florida. He said the 3-ball is the great equalizer. It can equalize offense, it can equalize defense, and often it can equalize the referees. So I thought that was great by Duger. It was super.
We got to get you and Citadel playing.
We want to do that. How about basketball in Charleston? We have a good team and having a good year. College at Charleston is having a terrific year and has a fabulous coach.
You're not playing them either.
Not playing them either. And Earl Grant. And then, I love Duger. Duger and Earl and I are the best of friends, and we meet and we talk mostly life, not as much hoops as you would when you get together with other coaches.
So why aren't you playing?
Well, we got away from it, and it's been tough to get it back. And we feel like we want to play a home and home. We don't feel like we want to play a game anywhere and not have it returned to our place.
They don't want to come to your place.
Well, that was the case. I think Earl is such a good guy and Duger is such a good guy. We continue to talk about it, and we know it's good for Charleston basketball. And hopefully we can get that to work out.
Do they want to go to the arena, the North Charleston Coliseum?
I don't know so much if it's them, maybe their administration. I know that Earl is such a great guy and Duger, and I keep saying that because they are. We're great friends.
See,
and I don't want
to pin you down.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say anything about that
Right.
because I know Earl and Duger want to play, and I want to play. So we're hoping to get that going again. We'd love to play. We think it would be good for Charleston.
You will take your show on the road to the upstate here in a couple of, or at least in a week or two or so here. You'll go to Furman on December 11th. You'll be at Clemson on the 18th. You'll see two hot shooting teams and probably no hotter team in the state than the Paladins here on the 11th.
Well, Bob Ritchie was on our staff here for 5 years, and he has done a terrific job. Bob is one of the best keep an eye on him. He is one of the best young coaches in the United States of America. He was amazing here. He recruited the guys that won us 2 championships. And so I'm a big Bob Ritchie guy. He's a great friend of mine. So we're looking forward to playing them. That'll be a great challenge for us because they're veteran and experienced, and they execute. If you watch them closely, they execute as well as anybody in the country. He's a fabulous coach. And then what an honor to play Clemson off a Sweet 16 team. And Brad Brunell's a terrific coach, and we're looking forward to playing in that new facility. Those games for us help our institution financially, but also it's a great experience and a great opportunity for our guys to learn. They want to play those games. We got to play in the Milwaukee Bucks arena just 2 nights ago, and $550 million new arena. And we're looking forward to playing at Furman and at Clemson.
Did you see the Greek Freak while you're up there?
We sure looked for him, and we really did. And Chris Middleton is a Charleston guy, and I sent Chris a text just to let him know we were in town and to thank him for all that he does for basketball in the Low Country with his camp. And I think they were at Charlotte. They were on this half of the country.
A little
reverse. So they were up there playing the Hornets, and we were there in Milwaukee.
Listen, we thank you for coming by, right off the practice field, floor. You come over. Football game tonight. I've been noticing on social media, you probably too, the back and forth between the Citadel and Charleston Southern. Each one taking a little shot at each other leading up to tonight's game.
Yeah, it really is. And that's good, healthy fun. And that's 2 great institutions. We think the world of the Citadel. I particularly am a Duger guy, but that's good competitive football. That'll be a really good game tonight. I'm going to try to get Hope and maybe head up there, but maybe go home too. I don't know. We're going to decide. We had a tough practice today. But that's going to be a great game, well attended by both schools, and a game we need to keep playing.
And y'all are home 2 days from today.
We are. We have North Florida at home, so come to the Buck Dome. If you've never seen a game in the Buck Dome, I'll get you a seat on the first 5 rows.
That's all you got.
Because we only got 5 rows. There you go.
Hey, thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks for having us.
Great seeing you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. More importantly,
All right.
Thanks for bringing your lovely wife out to the comeback shack.
She's the best, so great to have her here too.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Barkley Radebaugh, coach of the Charleston Southern basketball team. Hope they have a great year and a great run in the Big South. We got some good, we're going to start paying attention more and more to basketball here in the weeks ahead. We've got some teams having very good years.
And it's more than just the usual suspects, which I think is great for basketball in the state.
Yeah. All right, coming up on the top of the hour, we got recruiting coming up in our next hour. We have got
some Jake Bentley, some Tanner Muse.
Yep, and more from Chuck Reedy.
And a great book, a good read for you if you're looking for something for the holiday season on Clemson.
Yeah, the author of that book, Manny Robinson, will be with us, and we'll be back.
Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Thursday night. We are in North Charleston / Latson, just down from Charleston. So we are near Latson, are we not? I mean, that's what I think we're near Latson.
I don't think they prefer that nomenclature.
We're between like North Charleston and Goose Creek. Goose Creek's not too far down the road. What highway is this out here?
This is 78.
78, 52's over here. It's a busy, busy road. And anytime you come out here at 5 o'clock, it's slammed. And we are at the Comeback Shack. We invite everybody to come out tonight. If you can't make it tonight, come out tomorrow.
Just come out.
Just come on out. Yeah. I'm not sure Coach Reedy's going to be sitting here tomorrow like he is tonight. Let me get that wire off of you there. There you go. Yeah. But you'll be here from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
You do autographs? You ever sign autographs? You don't do
No, I don't.
Do people know
Nobody's
who
asked
do they
me
know
for
who does your staff
My
know
staff,
who you are?
They know who I am, but they're about the only ones.
Do they know that your nickname is Ground Chuck?
No, they don't know that.
So we have here, Corn,
Yes.
someone wishing to win one of these commemorative footballs that commemorate Brian Dawkins being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, we've got 2 footballs that reflect the great history of Brian Dawkins, former Clemson safety, who you did not coach.
I did not coach, but he went to Raines High School in Jacksonville, which was an area that I recruited when I was at Clemson. Terrence Rulack was a guy that, the great player that we got from there.
Kind of got it started.
And then Rick Stockstill took it over, and we've got a lot of really good players out of Raines.
Did you coach at Sandalwood?
Coach at Sandalwood? No.
In Jacksonville?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you have history, you have family in that area. don't you?
Well, I'm from St. Augustine, which is 30 miles south, and I coached at Baker County, which is in McClenny, which is 30 miles west of Jackson.
Well, that explains why you continue to look so young. You've been drinking from the fountain of youth in St. Augustine. Is that what it is?
No, it's because my wife is a physician, and she takes good care of me.
It has nothing to do with those trips to Turks and or Caicos either.
See, well, you need to go to Turks and Caicos.
Turkey and Croatia.
Yep.
Wherever you happen to go. This guy lives a great. I'm telling you, man. We've missed it. We should have been football coaches and not very good, and gotten fired and taken our $5 million.
You see my resume from my old Madden.
No.
But you were very good. The problem is, you were a very good coach.
Well, but it's like Coach Ford said, we came along 20 years too soon.
Yeah.
And I only got fired once. Coach Ford got fired twice. He said if he could get fired one more time, he thinks he'd have it made.
I think he's got it made now.
I think he does too.
Well, he's got a very nice farm to speak of too, as well.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right, we do have a contestant here, and this is a former football coach and athletic director. And you're going to have to help me again with the name because I'm terrible.
Charlie.
Charlie, good to see you again. Charlie Davis.
Yeah.
That's right. It's good to see you. You know this gentleman from way back.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, are you a Clemson man?
Yes, I am.
You are a Clemson man. Okay. Well, we've got a trivia question for you. See those footballs over there?
Look mighty nice.
They are nice.
My grandson's about to die back there.
To get one?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to give you a question based off of Saturday's game.
Okay.
All right.
You watched the game, I assume.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Okay. So with the win by Clemson over South Carolina, that extends the Clemson winning streak to how much over the Gamecocks?
5 straight.
Bingo.
Yeah.
5 in a row.
You made it so easy.
Well, I said it's going to be easy. I don't want to carry those things back home.
I understand.
So one of those, they're identical, is yours and your grandson's. So congratulations.
I really appreciate that, and he appreciates it even more.
A little holiday gift for you. So tell me about your experiences with Coach Reedy.
It was really a coup for Berkeley County to have an opportunity to hire Coach Reedy when we hired him. And John Fulmer, the principal at Goose Creek High School, when he and I were talking about it. And I told John, I said, when Chuck Reedy walks in the door, you have instant credibility. Instant credibility. Anybody else you hire is going to have to earn that trust and credibility. Chuck had it right away. And it's obvious with the result he got, winning a state championship and turning the program totally around. We were real fortunate.
You know, people always say, well, you got to have players, you got to have talent, and that's true. But I also believe there's a certain element. There's a reason why some coaches win no matter where they are. Chuck, we were talking about Jerry Brown.
Yep.
I mean, it's because of who they are and the respect they command and their system and how they run their program.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got to have some players too. I get that, but
you can have good players and not win if you don't have good coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it goes both ways. But a good football coach can take good players and win.
You have to have a plan, and it's all about adapting the plan to your personnel. So many people, I get this with coaches, they try to shoehorn their philosophy around their personnel. You should make your personnel malleable, or at least your philosophy malleable to your personnel. Yeah. Sorry, that's a word probably Dabo doesn't know. I'm sorry.
You'll have to ask him that next time. Well, you'll see him on Saturday. You can ask him.
So stupid.
Really Will has become stupid. Dabo's personal vocabulary foil.
You know, he wants to do like a word of the day every time I'm there now.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Well, listen, you got to be known for something. All right? You got to be known for something. Hey, thank you very much. It's great seeing you.
It was my pleasure.
And we appreciate you coming over. We've got one more football to give away. And so we've got one more trivia question in our head that we'll throw out there. Anybody wants to come up and attempt the trivia question if you are a Clemson or Gamecock. Okay, here we go. We got another customer, a happy customer here at the Comeback Shack. Come on down.
This is live radio.
Thank you, Coach.
Why not?
Good seeing you. Absolutely.
I saw him eyeballing those footballs on the way in.
All right, put the headset on, sir. Coming up right there. There you go. Thank you
Sorry, Ernie.
What's your name, sir? Mike. Put that microphone up there close to you there. Can you somebody help him? There you go.
All right.
There we go. It's not that hard. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Gamecock or Tiger?
Tiger.
Tiger fan. Okay. All right. So you want that football right there.
Yes, sir.
Last one. Here's a question for you. In the game Saturday, Jake Bentley and Trevor Lawrence both did something that had never been done in that game before. What was it? Well, that might be tough.
It's a little bit more.
He's young.
This is Masters level here.
We took it up a notch. We went easy on Coach. We're taking it out on you.
Think about how dynamic that game was.
Think about all the passing yards.
I was going to say, was it a certain passing yardage?
Think about the passing yards and what really kind of stood out. Bentley against Clemson and Lawrence against South Carolina.
They both throw for over 200 yards?
Well, yeah,
correct.
Technically that's correct. That's not the answer we're looking for.
Where did their performances stand
all time
in the annals of this rivalry?
In the all-time history of the rivalry, the amount of yards that Lawrence threw for against South Carolina and the amount of yards that Bentley threw against Clemson, all-time what?
Total yards.
Yeah, pan through the air, right? Passing yards all time. Most by
a quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
On each
team.
There.
Wow.
Got it.
That was we couldn't shoehorn it for you anyway. The correct answer is they each threw for the most yards against that team in the history of the rivalry.
Right. Get it?
I got it.
Yeah.
Lawrence threw for more yards against South Carolina than any Clemson quarterback had. South Carolina's Bentley threw for more yards against Clemson than any Carolina quarterback had, breaking a record from Tommy Suggs.
I kind of think that Bentley's mark's going to stand for a while.
510 yards is a lot of yards.
I can't see another Gamecock quarterback passing over
Trevor was
yards.
393,
90-something.
393, I thought.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
That football over there in the case is yours.
All right.
We thank you for coming over, and thank you for coming to the Comeback Shack. You come here a lot?
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Yep, I do.
Well, we want to make it more
Come more often.
Every now and then. Come on, buddy. We got to do better than that.
Chuck needs a new place in Turks and Caicos, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Come as often as you can. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming over.
Burger looks fantastic, Corn.
All right, Will is checking out because he's got his food.
Oh, I'm not checking out.
So we'll say goodbye to you for the next few minutes.
Oh, stop it.
We got a break coming up.
You've seen how fast I eat. I probably can get it done by the next break.
Chuck's going to hang with us, right? You're not going anywhere, are you?
No, as long as you need me.
We need to avail us of the recruiting.
That's coming up and more. Be right back.
Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. We come to you from the Comeback Shack, and I don't know if it's just because Chuck is sitting right here and the burger is still right in front of me, but I can now vouch for the burger. It's freaking awesome. I am very, very happy.
I'll tell you what else is good, too. Now, you're also known for your chicken, right?
Yeah.
Your chicken sandwiches?
Everything is fresh now. And
I went looking for a freezer. I couldn't find one.
we don't have one.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
just
the
wanted to cool.
difference.
I wanted to
That's
cool
the
off a little
difference.
bit. I'm going to stick my head in the freezer for a little bit. You don't have a freezer?
No, we don't have food.
I'm going to do the one thing that allows me to shut my mouth, and that is eat, and have you do recruiting at the same time.
That's a good idea. Do you want to do the recruiting report, Coach Reed?
No, I'm going to.
But you're a long time
Hey, you're the
follower
expert,
of
man.
the recruiting report.
I try to keep up with it a little bit.
Subscriber once upon a time to the sports news.
Yeah.
Ill-fated.
Well, we have been a part of several
things.
ill-fated
But you never brought me into your restaurant business. I'm a little disappointed. I could clean up. I could carry out the garbage.
Hey, I at least knew that the fries were double fried. I think I should have a little say in this thing.
Well, I wasn't going to
saying.
do anything with the planning of the food or anything like that. But okay, to recruiting, USC recently jumped in for offensive lineman Matthew Bedford, 6'6", 260 out of Memphis. He's been committed to Indiana, but in recent weeks, interest has picked up, and he's looking around. Mississippi State's also involved. So according to his coach, Marcus Wimberly in Memphis, he's going to take an official visit to USC Friday and Saturday. He's at a Cordova High School. And then Sunday, Monday, he's going to Mississippi State. The next weekend, he's going to go to Indiana. And so Coach says he's got an open mind about things, and he's going to try and figure things out. But obviously, he said South Carolina is one of the options for him. He's been to South Carolina before, unofficially. He's also been to Mississippi State unofficially. His parents are going to join him on his visits. He'll decide soon after. He's an early signee. More on receiver Xavier Leggett of Mullins, who was back at USC for an unofficial yesterday, watching practice, touring the campus, met with Will Muschamp in the office. He had contemplated committing going into the visit, but held off for now to give the process more time. He is not going to be an early signee, and so he wants to take some visits in January. He said Muschamp wants him for the 2019 class, but because the numbers are tight, they want him to sign but come in later and be part of the 2020 class. But he can still play in 2019. Now, they've given these, with the rules, this wiggle room. When you enroll, you can count on the next class if you enroll late enough.
The fudging of the numbers, if you will.
Well, I mean, it's all legal. But when you've only got 5 spots left right now for South Carolina, as things stand, now there's a couple of guys in the class who are a little questionable academically that might change. But right now they've got 5 spots.
We call that creative accounting in the money business.
Well, like there's 2 guys who played this year who are counting in the 2019 class because they had to count them somewhere. Tyson Williams was one of them, and Josh Belk is the other. They're now counting in the 19 class, so that takes up 2 spots. So anyway, Leggett said Muschamp explained all that to him once again. He knew it anyway. He's got an official with Tulane December 7th. And right now, East Carolina, January 11th. Now, East Carolina's changing coaches. See what happens with that. He also plans to take an official to Tennessee. This guy's a really good athlete. He played quarterback this year for Mullins and had almost 2,000 yards and 19 touchdowns. South Carolina likes him as a receiver, though he said Travaris Robinson wants him to come over and play defense. So we shall see. First Baptist running back Michael Dukes. You know him? You ever seen him play?
I know of him. I've not seen him play. I've heard a lot about him.
2,030 yards, 29 touchdowns this year. 5 years on the varsity, 34 games, 4,562 yards, 66 touchdowns. He was on his way to Clemson last Saturday for the game in an unofficial visit. Something came up in the family. He had to turn around and come back home, so he didn't make it. He's been communicating with Clemson, with Tony Elliott, not that much now with USC. He's got an official to Syracuse on December 6th, also planning to take an official visit to Virginia Tech. He's been to East Carolina. He's also a basketball prospect, and he said NC State, Georgetown, VCU, and Stetson are now showing interest. He has an offer from IUPUI.
Indiana University, Purdue University of Indiana.
Yes. 2021 defensive back Dre Pinckney of Boiling Springs plans to be at USC Saturday, as does 2020 defensive end DeGuan Mansell of Westside. He was also in for the Missouri game. 2020 athlete Cameron Laybourne of Virginia Beach, Virginia, plans to be at USC Saturday. He has a Virginia Tech offer, and he's been there. USC offered 2021 safety David Daniel of Woodstock, Georgia. USC target offensive lineman Darius Washington had an in-home with Mississippi State yesterday. He's been committed to the Bulldogs. Miami also was in this week. And we're hearing through coaches who have been by Waukeva High in Apopka. You know Waukeva High?
No, I don't.
In Apopka, Florida. That things are looking very good for Clemson with defensive lineman Tyler Davis. This is coming through the route of recruiters who've been there to talk to him and being told by the coaches he's committed to Clemson silently, privately. He hasn't announced it yet. So we're hearing, again, really isn't a shock to people who follow recruiting. Looks very good for Clemson with Tyler Davis, defensive lineman. Florida State's been the other one that's been on him strongly. There you go with recruiting here on Sports Talk. Check it out on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. And we have commenced doing a recruiting podcast. I have entered the world of podcasting.
This after you basically sat and belittled the world of podcasting.
Yes, I did.
All woe these many years.
Well, when one is ordered to do something, sometimes you listen.
It's a great thing, Corn.
Do you have employees that sometimes just don't want to do what you want to do? Did you have players who sometimes just wanted to look at you and go, Coach, I'm not doing that. That's just not going to work.
He had the ability to get them to run sprints.
I've never had one tell me that.
What would you do to one that said that?
Sprints, up downs, gassers.
I just don't think I would ever have one tell me that.
Well, anyway, this is something new for me. You've done podcasting before.
I have. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more relaxed, I would say.
Yeah,
a lot more laid back.
Sit there and talk, blah, 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 blah.
You can be a lot more long-winded, long form, if
a lot
you
more
will.
details.
Yes.
So, yeah, we started that, and I think it's up on our Twitter, and eventually, soon, it'll be up on our website, too. And I guess you'll be able to download it however you do these things.
I'll show you how to put it up. You want me to show you how to pull it up on your phone?
Well, I mean, I can go to Twitter and pull it up, you know. But, I mean, it's going to be on our website, and you'll be able to.
I can show you how it can download automatically onto your phone, especially if you get it, you know, we're going to try to get it with iTunes and all the other places you get podcasts, you know, the Stitchers and all those things. So,
yeah.
For folks who have an Android like you, because.
Oh, I love my phone. Don't be talking about my phone.
You're one of these few people who has the Droid. I'm not a fan of the Droid.
Each to their own. You know, what do you have?
Droid. I'm a Samsung.
Yeah, I'm not an iPhone guy. Oh. I'm not an iPad guy. I'm not an iPhone guy.
You don't like E's?
I like my. For the longest time, I had an S5. Then I finally upgraded to the S8.
I'm at an SE, just like me then.
Yeah, and you know, my camera works. Everything I need is right there. I don't need anything else.
Chuck, you had some comments you wanted to make about just the angst that Dabo might have created a little bit earlier this week.
Yeah, we were talking about how fans, the more you win and you win and you win and you win, and then all of a sudden, just winning is not enough. And you know, we went through this Clemson, you know, when you know, we were winning so much, and I'll never forget, you know, we'd come out of a game and maybe, you know, we'd win by a touchdown or whatever, and you know, we were excited about it, but the fans, you know, a lot of them didn't seem to be too excited. And then you start to figure out you didn't cover the spread, and you know
that's why they're mad.
A lot of people were, they weren't real happy, even though you won, but you didn't cover the spread. And so, you know, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but you know, it certainly can get to that point, I think.
Real quick, because the break's coming up, but I mean, Dabo threw those words out there. Well, and I'm paraphrasing here. If you don't like what I'm doing, I can go look for some other places. Now, do you think he really means that?
No, he doesn't mean that at all.
It's facetious. It's facetious.
No, I mean, Dabo's got this is probably the best coaching job in the country.
But he's made it that way.
I know he has.
All right, hang on. We got to hit a break. We'll come right back. Going to talk about a new book on Clemson and more here from the Comeback Shack.
Sports Talk is the sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. From the coast to the mountains, we cover it all.
So we're getting towards that time. People starting to think about, Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents, holiday presents. And this is one, if you are a Clemson fan, we certainly recommend. It is Top of the Hill, brand new book. Dabo Swinney and Clemson's rise to college football greatness, and it's written by our good friend Manny Robinson, who joins us now on Sports Talk.
Good to have Manny with us this evening. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Terrific. We're at the Comeback Shack here near Charleston Southern. We recommend it highly for you next time you're down this way. Maybe you should do a book signing here one day, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My in-laws are down there, West Ashley in Charleston. So
cool. Well, you know what? Contact Chuck Reedy. He'll take care of you. Yeah, he'll be glad to have you.
Yeah, let me know. We'd love to have you, and we'll set you up right here.
Hey, go, Manny. We're doing your work for you.
I know. How about this?
Yeah. Well, now let's talk about the book, because there's been a lot of books written about Clemson's rise to prominence over the last several years, especially by guys who covered the program very closely, newspaper guys, internet guys, et cetera, et cetera. So why this book for you? What was the particular angle you chose to take?
Well, that's a good question. Well, one reason this was it is something that actually valuable is that first year we got to the playoffs, and we did one of the Greenville News. I guess because everyone was so energized and surprised they got that far, no one knew the next year that they win it all. And so it's an all-encompassing look at it, and also it starts mostly out of Dabo's background and his faith and his work ethic, and how that is woven through the entire program.
When you started your research, of course, I'm sure you relied on a great deal of your firsthand knowledge and covering the team on a daily basis like you do, practices, press conferences, games, and all that. What other access did you get? Did you do a lot of behind-the-scenes type stuff that maybe others weren't granted access to? What other things did you dig into?
Yeah, we did a few interviews with some folks, just some on background and some actually quoted in there. And what's great about subscription is that you don't need to set up that many additional interviews just for access to Dabo, because he's so generous with his time. So a lot of the research as far as quotes and things like that came out of our normal availability, which was convenient, I guess I should say, but also good. And you had, I know my favorite was talking to Eric McLean, a former offensive lineman at length, and he gave me a lot of good stuff for the book, and just want to recognize him because his help was I couldn't pay him enough if I was paying him. It was invaluable.
Manny, it's interesting. Dabo handles his program in a very unique way. He obviously is an offensive coach, but a lot of his work is delegated and almost kind of I would say he almost kind of roots almost via democracy. How much of kind of the way he's structured his program, how much of the book kind of goes into the way he has built this and put this into a very unique formula?
Yeah, a little bit, especially because when he first got the job, it wasn't that way. He wanted his hands in everything, and he realized, one, that was exhausting, and two, that didn't get the best out of his people. And so you learn trial and error because that he had no experience before getting that job. So him being able to have that time with Terry Don Phillips being so strong-minded in his decision, that's what helped the most. And Dabo learned that lesson and then started to delegate more, make the right decisions, and came known as one of the best, I guess personnel people in the industry.
Well, when you look at Dabo, and I want to say that he's one of those coaches that came on the cusp of the social media boom, and he seems to be one of the first coaches we've seen that makes a concerted effort to make sure that his program is marketed 365 days a year. Did you delve into that into the book or found that out in your research?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way to cover that team without recognizing that. Dabo talks a lot, but he never says a word that isn't calculated and geared toward his objective. And it's a singular objective. If you talk to the coordinators, you talk to any other coaches, and even what you hear from the players, there's a singular message that they're all on, and that's by design. He's a master marketer, and it's funny for someone who doesn't have a Twitter account that he's one of the most viral coaches in college football, and he understands that everything he's doing is a reflection of the program. So pushing that brand out as far as he can, of course, because that helps in recruiting, but also in generating momentum for the program as far as fundraising and getting people in the stands. He recognizes that. He's been able to leverage that really well.
Visiting with Manny Robinson about his new book on Clemson football, Top of the Hill. And, of course, you can get it at Amazon.com and where all books are sold, I guess, here in the state of South Carolina and other places. And Taj Boyd did the forward for the book. I want to go back on something you just said. And this week we had Dabo saying some rather strong and some might consider harsh words towards the Tiger fans. Is that sort of in line with what you were just saying about the way he presents himself to the public?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially so because he doubled down. I think he initially said it in a teleconference with the ACC over the weekend, and then came back in his regular Tuesday press conference and kind of doubled down on it. So I don't know if if he's ever retracted anything. And so he knew his message, and it kind of works like that big rant. And I talk about that rant that he had several years ago during that 5-year streak on the other side of the rivalry with South Carolina. But he had a championship game that week after and needed to generate some momentum. And the jury's still out on whether that was planned or whatnot, depending on depends on what side of the rivalry you're on, if you think about that. But again, not to say that it's conniving, but it is calculated.
You know, Manny, you were obviously at the forefront of the reporting involving Kelly Bryant's departure from Clemson and subsequent transfer, and obviously he's making his decision next week. What read, if any, do you have on his next destination?
He's leaning a few ways, but he hasn't closed the recruiting process yet. There were some coaches in this today and yesterday making their I guess you'd say their final pushes, because he is steady, holding firm on that December 4th date. That's a special date to him. I'll explain that a little bit in a couple of columns we have coming up. But yeah, he's making a tough decision, but I think it's one that he's going to be very settled on, and he doesn't have to agonize over. He's not going to lose sleep. I think he's very certain in the decision that he makes.
Is he still on track for a December 4th announcement?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. He's holding steady there. That date means something to him. There's been a few speculative things out there that don't hold water, but it's a special date to him, and he'll kind of explain that when he's ready, for those that don't already know.
All right, very good. Hey, listen, best of luck with the book, and who knows, if Clemson wins another national championship, you'll have more material for another book.
Yeah, we may have to do a second edition that add a couple chapters there.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us. Always good talking to you. We'll see you soon.
Oh, appreciate the time. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Best of luck, Manny.
Actually, we'll see you tomorrow, probably in Charlotte, as a press conference tomorrow in Charlotte for the ACC combatants from Pitt and from Clemson, and I'll be there for that.
Have fun.
And you'll be there for the game. I get to see the Gamecocks in Akron.
Closed air press box, thank goodness. I've had 2 weeks in a row with these open air press boxes. Those are for the birds, by the way.
Give me open air. I like to feel like I'm part of the game. I want to feel like I'm out there sweating and hurting and bleeding. And yes, give me open air.
I want to be able to take my coat off and not have to wear gloves while typing.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's not about you now, is it?
Not about you either.
All right. We'll be right back.
Now back to Sports Talk, South Carolina's most listened to sports talk show for more than 30 years.
We've had a lot of fun here at the Comeback Shack in North Charleston. We implore you to come by and patronize the fine establishment that our friend Chuck Reedy has been so hospitable in having us come do our show in. Thank you so much again for it. I'm not lying. That's a darn good burger and fries. That's a darn good burger and fries.
Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And
no freezer, no warming lights.
No.
Everything is right there, fresh, right out of the cooking stuff.
And most of all, thank you for what you do for us on the show every week during
thank
the
you all
football
for
season.
having me. We appreciate it very much.
All right, I'm trying to follow this Citadel in Charleston Southern game. I believe it's 14-7. The Citadel. I'm following the score tracker on the Citadel website, and one side's got 20-0, then it's got 14-7. So I'm going to presume it's 14-7. The Citadel is leading Charleston Southern as they are playing in the second quarter, early in the second quarter, over at Johnson Haygood Stadium. I'm sure there's a big, rowdy crowd over there for that.
Sure
Ellis
there
Johnson's at that game.
Yeah. Yep.
The former Citadel coach and player. And let's welcome in now to Sports Talk, the money coach, Fran Halloran. Coach, how are you this evening?
Gentlemen, I am well, and I hear you guys are down in Charleston enjoying some good burgers. That sounds like a pretty good evening there.
Oh, this place is fantastic. We recommend it highly. The Comeback Shack. When you're down this way, it's just down from Charleston Southern, so pay a visit.
I got to get down there. I got to get Cohen doing more remotes where he takes me with him.
I'd be scared to bring him into this place. He'd do some heavy damage.
He would. He'd do some heavy damage. So I want to make two comments, if I could, about what y'all were talking about a little while ago. First of all, Will, I loved your creative accounting quote a little while ago when you were talking about the whole scholarship thing. It is interesting how what once was a break of the rules is now perfectly acceptable thanks to creative accounting. Further proof that college football is now just a farm league for the NFL. And I got to throw my 2 cents in about Dabo. I don't think Dabo minced his words. I think he was sending a shot over the bow. I think he's reminding Clemson fans pretty soon Nick Saban's going to retire, and Dabo's going to be number one on their list. Whether he goes or not, who knows? But I think they darn well better be wary of the fact that this guy's going to have his pick for that job if he's not.
I'm going to venture a guess. I'm going to nip this in the bud right here and now and tell you that Dabo Swinney is never going to Alabama. Never. Do you need another never? Never.
If he doesn't want to go someplace where they care more about the way the wind looks, that's not what Alabama is.
Yeah.
Alabama, they would complain about anything.
Yeah, that's an impossible job. They, and Coach Reedy sitting here. When the time comes for Saban, what do you think they will do? Go within or go outside? Or
well, they will make a run at Dabo, but no. But I'm like you. He's too smart to go. He's too smart to do that.
I agree.
Now, they're not going to go. They've tried going within before. Didn't work real well for them. They'll go out and hire the best coach in the country that they can
get.
Yeah, you saying Mike Shula wasn't a good pick? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Neither was Mike Dubose. Okay, you want me to keep going?
Fran, what you got for us tonight?
Mike Price.
Well, guys,
oh, that's a good one.
I thought it'd be interesting to talk for just a minute about the bowls and the business of bowls. I got about 10 facts here. I know we don't have time for 10, but I want to read just a couple things that I found in doing my research. Do you know that ESPN, they're paying $600 million to air the playoffs, and the ESPN is charging $1 million per 30-second ad. 26 million watched the championship game last year. That is tremendous. It's like the sixth highest rated cable television sports event of all time. $1 million, $2 million a minute for ads with ESPN for the national championship game last year. That's incredible. Corporations are paying upwards of $20 million for bowl naming rights. $20 million to be called the, whatever it is, Fiesta Bowl. What do they call the Fiesta Bowl now? Doritos? Tostitos.
Something like that.
Was Tostitos Fiesta Bowl for the longest time. I want to say they got rid of that, though.
Hey, I can't believe the Poulan Weed Eater people were paying $20 million for that bowl.
No, that's a good one, and that's a good point. It's only a few $100,000 for some of the lower tier bowls, but some of the big ones, they're going to get
PlayStation now on the Fiesta Bowl. PlayStation.
It's PlayStation for the Fiesta. Hey, look, PlayStation's got a lot of money. They're not missing.
And I guarantee
$20 million.
they're paying $20 million for it. Hey, here's something crazy about the bowls. I had no idea this. A lot of these bowls, they have organizations that oversee the bowl game, CEOs, if you will, of like the Belk Bowl or the Outback Bowl. The Outback Bowl CEO, he makes $993,000 a year to be the CEO of the Outback Bowl.
To work one month a year.
1 month
and really not have to do a whole lot of work because the bowl, the college football committee and the leagues put the games together now. It's not like it used to be when it was a bidding process between
and
the
they
bowls.
get to go to free football games every week.
But he has to fit in that blazer they give him.
Now you have to wear those ugly blazers. Ain't no doubt.
Even the military bowl, executive director makes $272,000 a year for being the director of the military bowl. Here's another one. Tickets for 2018, and it's in Atlanta, right? At Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
2018 tickets. The least desirable seats, according to StubHub, $1,700 a piece. If you want a lower sideline ticket, $8,400. $8,400 a piece for a college football ticket. And if you want to have a suite, you can get a suite this year, Phil. There's 195 of them available. $89,000 to rent a suite for the game.
Coach Reedy can get one of those suites off of his weekly take here. Let me ask you this. We were talking about this here. Playoff fatigue. Clemson, if they win, they're going to tomorrow or Saturday be 4 straight years. They've been to Arizona. They've been to Miami. This will be 2 years in Miami. They've been to New Orleans. It takes a lot of money these days to be a Clemson fan. When does the fan say, I just can't do this again? I can't hit the road. I can't pay $500 for a ticket and $2,000 for a hotel.
And you got 2 games.
Yeah. When does playoff fatigue kick in?
I don't believe it happens for the Clemson base. The men and women that I know who are big hip day folks, they save all year. They budget it. They know that they're going to make a deep run to the playoffs anymore, and they are fully prepared to spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 or more to go to the games that Clemson's going to be in. They just don't. They don't bat an eye. I just don't think you're ever going to see playoff fatigue from the Clemson faithful. That's a lot
of potatoes, Coach.
It's a lot of potatoes. You wouldn't believe what some of these people budget to make these national championship trips. I have a few clients who make these trips, and I am just guffawed at how much money they put back every month to make sure they're ready in case Clemson makes a run.
Iptay doesn't still accept potatoes, do they? That's not a thing anymore.
No potatoes. And here's one of the most interesting
potatoes. I hadn't heard that one before. Is that something that they used to do at Missouri?
I know we're up against.
Yeah.
I know we're up against the end of the show, but I want to say one last thing. Here's what I really found interesting. Do you know that zero money, the 2 teams that make it into the title game, they get zero money for winning the title game this year? Zero money. Now they get all kinds of payouts for the semifinals and the bowls, but no money for winning the title game. They get a little expense money for travel, but no money for winning the game. Crazy. College football is big business, gentlemen. That's all there is to it. Big business.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Great hearing from you. Well, listen, it's about academics and education. That's about the experience. It shouldn't be about the money. Bennett Weigel has stepped down as the head football coach of Richland Northeast today. That job is open, Coach, if you still want it. Huh?
I think I'll pass.
He likes the burger thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank y'all so much for being here. We really appreciate
it. Folks, come to the Comeback Shack here in North Charleston.
Have fun in the Queen City.
Yeah, we'll be in Charlotte tomorrow for the press conference.
Keep it warm for me.
Back on Sports Talk tomorrow night. For everybody, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.